All right, certainly what is up, everybody. Remember, I know a lot of folks have been asking that, hey, I still want in on the comic. Can I still get it? Of course, you can still get it over at ripperverse.com. You can get ISOM #1. Cover C is still available. And next month, early next month, after we finish our inventory stuff, we will be putting some of the items that were still part of the campaign that obviously weren't limited to it. We'll be putting those up for purchase. So be on the lookout for that. But still, right now, you can get both the Yaira shirt as well as cover C of ISOM #1. Appreciate the support. All right. But to talk about something Elon discovered, I'll give you my thoughts on everything. But first, let's go ahead and just watch the video. It gives all the context it is that you certainly need. And I have a little tangent that I'm going to go on kind of based upon some of this. Let me pull that up and let's check this out.
At the merch thing, and there's an entire closet full of
secret closet
of hashtag woke t-shirts. Here we are.
Okay. So what happened was, this is at Twitter headquarters, obviously. If you've been living under a rock, Elon Musk is now the sole owner, I guess you could say that, of Twitter. Okay. And you know, he gets to kind of go through everything, uncover, or rather lift up every stone, see what's under it, all that. And he sees that there's a bunch of hashtags stay woke. That is the rhetoric that was used. An official Twitter merchandise that I'm guessing the employees had. Now, if you've been on Twitter, this wouldn't be any surprise to any of you if you understand kind of the policies and the direction that they went. And you've seen there's been plenty of, we've seen the data, Twitter employees, and how they are heavily slanted to vote in a certain way. More obviously Democrats. It's not even like close. You're talking about upward of like 90%. So obviously there was a slant there and it had been present. And if you were on the platform, you felt it because a lot of the policies that ended up in, let's say, people getting punished with suspended, locked out of their account, whatever it was based upon exactly that. It was more geared towards leftism, especially with the political stuff, the whole misinformation. It only applied to, let's say, one side. Now, of course, my issue had always been the weirdos who would deny this existence, right? Because they wouldn't like to think and do two things. They either deny it completely or they would act as if, of course, those guys are always right. They're always correct about everything. So when they do something, it's okay for them to do it. But when you do something, it's evil, rotten, and all of that stuff. But it was a heavy slant there. It was very present. Anybody that was there understood this. And now we just have more kind of confirmation that, well, they rocked that gladly. Now I can imagine being there if you were, let's say, even an engineer. Maybe you didn't do you wouldn't even participate in all the fake jobs, but you actually went to work and did that. And let's say you weren't really aligned here. Man, I can imagine that being a crappy place to certainly work. Despite cutting all these employees, Twitter right now seems to be running fairly fine. We'll see what happens in the future. I think they'll be fine. I don't know what the plan is with a lot of the monetization stuff. That's what I'm more intrigued by, and that's what I'm more interested in. But this certainly shows you that these folks are exactly what we thought they were. Now, the tangent that I'm going to go on is more so I want to make sense of this for those folks that are just completely oblivious, right? The authoritarian left in this country, which is basically most of them, okay? They know the game. They understand it. They're smart enough, though being dumb at the same time. They're at least smart enough to understand the game. And the game is not about having the best ideas on your side. You've heard me repeat this a lot. It's not about having the best ideas on your side. It's about influence. It's about control. It's about being able to maintain that level of control with things that have, let's say, a lot of eyes on it, high user bases, and a lot of influence. Once they had realized that they've played the long game. You start to make sense of some of their actions, historically speaking. Why did they invest so much in cultural related things? Why they invest so much in entertainment? Why is that direct connection there? It's because they realize as long as they control that, they control whatever narrative, they control what is deemed as the status quo. And they don't need to be right. They don't need to be just. They don't need to be any of that in order for that influence to stick. So they've seen this, they've known this for forever, right? And even if they do it, be it subconsciously or whatever it is that you want to call it, it's kind of baked into the fabric of really leftism, in that you control the narrative, you control everything. The average person, unfortunately, does not possess the intellectual capacity, let's say that, to assess things by themselves. Okay. And I'm meaning it as it pertains to like political stuff, of course, day-to-day stuff. Yeah. But like political stuff, a lot of folks just sway one way or the other. I would love to change that. It's going to take cultural infiltration to even get people to think along those lines, as opposed to what do these people say is the right thing, versus after you critically like thought about it, you came to a logical conclusion. I would love for that to happen, but it's not the case. So they control the proper channels. They control social media, right? They control entertainment. They control those levels of things. And really the only thing that happened with this whole Elon situation is that Elon was a guy that is, I'm not going to even say he's not a leftist. I'm just going to say he sees one very crucial aspect, just even a little tad different than what his other colleagues do. And because he now owns a platform that is, again, user-based, has people on it that are interactive, and you get to see the difference between, and those of you that have been there, between now and let's say the last few years, and how the platform has changed. We've seen a lot of our guys be able to get back on the platform, Nick Rekieta and all those guys. This is important. Okay. And the reason why they're so irate and angry, it has less to do with Elon Musk as a person and where his views are, even politically. It's more in the fact that, well, you have destroyed, just by existing, you have destroyed, or rather being owner of this, you have destroyed our plans. Okay. And he said, if you go follow his Twitter, he's talked about how with some of this stuff regarding the left, and let me see if I can find some of these tweets and what he's uncovering when he's seeing some of this stuff. Let me see if I can find some of these where he kind of goes into this. He was like, even there was some comment where he was like, even the people that are of the far left folks had not been banned, had not been previously banned. There was some people, I think it was Dinesh, if I'm not mistaken, he had said something about like, well, it was something that was coordinated more so, and it was aimed at people that had conservative slants and whatever. And he confirmed, he was like, yeah, that's essentially what it was and what it had been. And look, take it for whatever it is. Like, here's one right here. You see, he says, imagine Elon were actually the right-wing boogeyman these spoiled lefty journal, pretend he is, and decided to turn the tables and ban all left-wing news from Twitter. He says, as is obvious to all but the media, this is what Elon Musk says, there is not one permanent ban or even the most far-left account that's spouting utter lies. That was what it was. And that is the case on other forms of social media as well. The difference is that there's been a kind of transfer of power here with Twitter, and this stuff is getting uncovered. Understand the game is the point that I want to make. It ain't about having simply the best idea. It's not good enough. That is not good enough. If you want liberty to win, you want prosperity, freedom, all those concepts that I like to think many of you guys that watch my channel understand and you value, and you would like to see that within your lifetime, an advancement, or rather it being moved to that direction, let's say that, then that's where the fight is. It's culture. It is culture. Once that status quo gets changed, you'll see everything change alongside it. At least Breitbart. I'm not a conservative, but even Andrew understood this, and that politics are on the downstream of culture. You change the culture, you change the politics by default.